and need to sell. We will help. And that's it. This is done. This email's done. Okay, did this make sense? I'm not doing anything special here. It's just a list of alternatives to foreclosure that I literally pulled off the website. A photo that I pulled off the website, and a phone number to Kevin's cell phone. Now, I don't expect them to take the action and call. It would be nice if they actually do, but that's okay. So I'm going to just send it out. What I'm looking for are the people who click and open based on the subject line. Do you have a sale date? Same thing can be done on MailChimp for anybody else on the cheap. Okay, that's the reason I'm doing this, right? Once I know that, then I can research who that person is and call them directly and change my campaign tactics. There, and send now, and turn that off, and then send now. That's it. Anybody who clicks and opens that is somebody who is a potential to try to get a hold of, or to go back to their door, or to retag, or to go drop something off. The point is always to follow up. I think that's the point to what David's saying. I'm going to take a wild guess that for most of you, you're not doing any follow-up. Forget lead gen from Facebook groups. I'm just talking simple follow-up campaigns. Easy text, MailChimp. This is Constant Contact, the one I just showed you. These are really simplistic things you guys can be doing that don't cost extra money, that you have to do. How do I know if they click? That's a good question. Here's easy text, by the way. So this email just literally got sent, right? Let's see if we get a bite before this webinar is over. And first page. Nobody has opened it yet. It just got sent. It says 0% open rate. There's 3 unique opens. So I've already won, right, Gloria? I've won. I know that these 3 emails already responded to the message, do you have a sale date and need to sell? If they call Kevin, that's a home run, okay? However, I know that these 3 emails, right? I just go back to my client list, pull the info, and now I can go to them directly. Simple enough. It will tell you. And I can even add a click or a form. Do you want us to call you? There's a lot of stuff I can do additionally, but my opinion, people don't double opt or triple opt, especially in this particular situation. What I can get them to do is get them to respond to a message. And the message that they responded to was that particular subject line. That's it. I mean, that's what I was after. I was after getting them to open this up so that I would see that they open it up. And it's just simply based on that subject line. That's all I was after. And 17 of them bounced.
So one of the things that we like to do is that because we get hundreds of people opening the emails, thousands even sometimes, so if you send out 10,000 pieces and 12% open it up, that's 1,200 people. We can't call them all. But what we can do is we can send them a secondary email. Which is what we haven't started doing that, but that's what we're moving. But what we've been keying on is the people that we could and should call, and that are the people who are actually clicking on the link. So it's one thing for them to open and preview or look at an email. It's another thing for them to take action. So everything that we send to our database has to have some sort of call to action with some sort of clickable / trackable link so that we know that they took interest. And we don't care if they register. We don't force them to register or anything after that. But when they open the particular link, then we reference that and we call them again and say, hey, I was thinking. Now, you got to be careful about being Big Brother here. That freaks some people out. Okay. hey, I saw that you're opening all my emails, but you haven't bought anything yet. So, hook a brother up. Let's, you ready to list your house? That's not the conversation we're having. It just allows you to, all you're doing is a click, in my opinion, is a hand raise. It's a hand raise. So they're raising their hand, but they don't want you to see it. So they're interested, but they're not taking action. I mean, internet leads in particular are awful because they might start opening emails and doing research 8 to 12 months before they do anything, and sellers are 6 to 9 months before they're ready to do anything. Right. So you've got to have a very patient approach. But in the moment that they're reading something or getting more information about something, if I were to call that moment or shortly thereafter and say, hey, I was just checking in with you. The last time we spoke, you were, let's use a default, you were thinking about, you were working on getting your loan mod, and I hadn't heard much about that yet. Tell me how that's going. All right, so you want to have a reason for calling, and that reason has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. If it was just a regular lead, hey, the last time we talked, you were thinking about buying a house, but it looks like you weren't quite ready, and I was wondering if you were getting closer to making a move. Are you looking to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Okay, and then it allows me to engage them in a conversation. And so we're measuring our success less by how many phone calls we make, less by how many open rates we get, and less we're trying to measure our success by how many quality conversations we're having with people right. that have a high probability of buying and selling a house.
Yeah, voice to voice is ultimately your game. If anybody were to ask me what Kevin's success is, or for us here, what our success is, it's that Kevin is diligent on his callbacks. Look, even when I get somebody who's even remotely interested in signing up for the Monster Marketing Program, I generally have Kevin call them and talk to them because he's still excited. He still goes and puts out tags. He's very good. I mean, you don't have to be a monster enroller to make the monster system work. You just have to physically go on the appointment. I've always said this. If you base getting a listing every month on math, okay, just on math, the odds are very good that if you're following up, you will get a listing in 3 to 6 weeks using the Monster program. And part of that is following up. I think if you went on enough appointments, you would happen across listings. I think that's an actual thing. But I think if you really want to convert and have a drip campaign in place to answer some of these questions, the system I'm using, Gloria, is Constant Contact. And if I wanted to make a simple change to what David said, just to merit the click rate, which I agree, clicks are more solid than open. However, they're opening to a very solid message, so they're worthwhile. But let's just say that, let's just change it just slightly so I can show you on Constant Contact. And you can do this with all the systems. Let's say that I wanted to change this slightly. I can add a button. Right? And it doesn't really matter where the button goes. I get options with the button. I can make it to a document, an email, or a web page. And generally an email is fine. Okay? Again, it's the action of more help, right? So I can send them back to our email address of advocate delivery at gmail.com. And then just change this to want help. Click here. You can put this anywhere on the page. It doesn't really matter. But again, now I've got an opt-in that isn't so heavy for them. Whether or not they actually fill out the next form doesn't matter. But if they click on it, I will know about it. So this is what it'll look like. If they click on it, it's going to just open up a mail to page, or if they don't have it set up. Normally, a mail to page will only work on a cell phone. which statistically they're opening it from anyway. There you go. Now I will know whether or not that gets opened. You're very welcome. Any other questions? What's my rate on open yet? It hasn't even reached 1% yet. I'm up to 5. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. Covered the click. Follow up and be very patient. Covered that. Where do you get the email addresses from? Okay. What is our email for this thing? It's advocate. We
right,
sent.
so
Go ahead, David.
let me jump in and share some ideas about how to get email addresses. All right. So the secret to getting an email address is offering them something of value. It's not
Right.
what's your email address. You have to offer them something, or and you should have 2 or 3 things that you can offer to send them. So, like a Monster label, for instance, we don't have their email address, right up front. So when we're meeting them at the door, we're offering them something of value. So we're just saying, I might say, hey, you know what? It sounds like you could really benefit from our free, we created a little an ebook on how to negotiate your own loan mod. It's free. I'd love to send it to you. You think that you'd like to take a look at it? It's a quick read and it'll really help you understand what's going on. They say, sure. I say, great. What's your email address? Okay. So you should have, would you, have you applied for the Keep Your California program? No. Well, you should take a look at some of the guidelines to see if you might qualify for. I can send that over to you if you like. Would that be helpful? Yes, great. What's your email address? You have to offer them something of value. To follow up. You need a short sale pack. You need a third-party authorization. You need, those are the kinds of things that you want to be able to send them. You want to offer them something of value. So on our for sale by owners, we do 2 things. We have 2 or 3 hooks because we can get their phone number a lot, but we don't get their email address, right? So especially if it's on Zillow and it's obscured by Zillow. So we're trying to call them and we're talking to them and we're going through the script and we're seeing if we can see the property and meet them and that kind of thing. But then we're saying, hey, I'm going to be providing a detailed analysis of your property in your neighborhood with stats and trends and market analysis that our buyers find very helpful when they're thinking about writing an offer. We also do that for the sellers. Would you like to see a copy of the 40+ page report about your house that we're going to be giving to our buyers? You know what they always say? Yes. Great. What's your email address? Okay. And then we go through it and said, you know what, why don't I do this in advance of meeting? Why don't I shoot you over our home seller's guide that's got a whole bunch of tips and strategies on how to get top dollar for your house when you're selling it on your own. Would you like that? Yes. Great. What's your email address? So you've got to make some value proposition first, get them to agree to receive it, and then ask for their email address, and your conversion rate on getting email addresses will be significantly higher than if you just say, okay, oh, by the way, what's the best number to reach you? And what's the best email address? People are going to opt out of that series of questions.
And it should be across the board. To answer the question of where to get the emails from, Fatima, for the sake of our discussion, those were just the emails that we've acquired by using the call center and what they were able to capture. But David's absolutely correct. I mean, it should be across the board. If you talk to a buyer, you're not going to just pass information over the wire to them over a phone call. Let me shoot you an email with that information. Build a buyer's list. I don't care if they have a client. Same with sellers. Same with breaking sellers down by different types of seller. The more, from a marketing standpoint, the more minute